right, all 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 right. Just launch back into it. Hey, good to see you. Hey, Naps, thank you for the 15 months. I appreciate it. Hello, howdy, good day, guten Tag, as the Germans would say. Nuclear shutdowning, as they say. That means good morning. Bat Chorjim, thank you for the tier 1. Walker, thank you for the 30 months. Let's go. I am the greatest to every troc. I am becoming Atrioc. Are you under the impression that because you've subscribed for 30 months that you are turning into me? I guess maybe. In some ways. Hey, I'm going to have to blow my nose a lot. My nose is very stuffed. It's unfortunate. That's what it is. I'm going to try and mute every time, but if I don't, okay, sorry about that. No, don't say yep. I'm literally live doing it. It's obviously not cocaine. Don't say dude. I did mute. I did mute. Hello, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, we got a first-time chatter saying yep, coke. Where do you even get that from? Yep, coke is not even mentioned outside of the stream. It's not part of the. I don't know how you pick that up. Why? First time getting to see the glitch live. Yeah, well, welcome. Job light, thank you for the 27 months. Chaos Flames, thank you for the 4. What is your fucking name? Fucking Arbox Needles? What? Whatever. Hey, Atrioc, I have to stop watching the latest best tweets on YouTube. But you were in the middle of a joke. Can you finish that here for me? Yeah, sure. Glizzy, glizzy, glizzy. All right. Now we're starting off with a fucking bang, dude. Holy. Jesus Christ. Can we VIP this guy or what? Hey, Big A, where do you buy now? Dude, I don't do cocaine. I just have a stuffy nose. Oh, God. God damn, dude. It's a problem. I had to record VO today. I hope it doesn't sound like shit. I hope it doesn't sound like shit. Hey, Atrioc, I've been blasting Bouncing in My Chevy today. You mean the song the guy on the street gave me in Vegas in 2012? You found that song and you're listening to it? Hey, Atrioc, currently buying a house. Thoughts about putting my down payment money on OKC tonight so my loan is less? Do you have a strong feeling they're going to win? Because if so, you should always follow that. My rule on sports gambling is don't do it unless you feel strongly that you know who's going to win. That's what I would say. And, you know, I mean, if you feel it big enough, you should take out a loan. You should go all in. Movie night. I think movie night tonight. Because, and the movie might be X-Men X2. Low key, I've been building towards that. Either that or we watch like multiple episodes of something. I'm also down to do X-Files 2 and 3. They're both super highly rated on IMDb, so I thought that could be fire. Or it could be first and last of a series. I'm also down to do that. Hey, babe.
Are they making fun of your cocaine habits?
I don't have cocaine habits. You can't say it like that because they are making fun of my stuffy nose.
Stuffy nose.
Yeah. Where did I get that stuffy nose, you think?
From your deviated septum.
No, that's not where I got my stuffy nose. Do you think somebody partying it up, EDC, gives me all the germs in the world?
Big germ. Are you trying to do like movie night or something?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a movie night. I mean, I'm talking about some stuff, some top peaks, but
whoa, what's that one?
It's a new Joeler.
Yeah, I like it. Is it Shrek or something?
There's no way it's Shrek. Is it Jalorp? What is that one? It's probably I'll never know.
What is it? Who's adding these?
It's Jalorp.
Oh, it's like Joel or.
What is that? Why is it called Jalorp?
It's like a little Jello. That's why.
Oh, it's like Glorp, but it's Joler.
Glorp?
It's an alien Joler.
I love it. Okay, that's Glorp. This one.
Yeah, that's Glorp and that's Joel.
It's so
Holy
funny.
shit, it's like combos.
It's like.
Okay, well, they all spin.
Yeah, but some spin faster.
All right, that is impressive.
It is so funny. Like, who comes up with this stuff?
Hey, how'd you like that game? Give your review of the game so far.
Oh, I just started playing Chance, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Sneer.
I think it's Sinar or something.
Fine, you know
Something
better.
like Sneer. I just started, but it's so cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chance of
Like, it's so
Sinar.
cute. Like, there's birds and, like, creatures in there.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this game.
It's so cute.
Wow, it is quite highly rated.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
This is the game.
Yeah.
She was playing it on Switch today.
Who's supporting my
I
cousin?
saw Spectacore play this a little bit, but he didn't seem like he was enjoying it that much. But maybe he's a dumb Canadian. Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely a dumb Canadian.
Yeah, maybe it was like his Canadian. He's like, "Where's the maple syrup?
Yeah.
You know, where's the fucking moose?"
Wait, I want to play and finish because we might do it for Dragon Con.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, it'd be
True,
fun,
true, 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 true.
One cosplay.
It's only for high IQ people like Big A Chat.
Don't bother. They're saying. All right, I just thought I'd pop in.
All right, well, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I like your Gatorade shirt.
Gatorland, you mean?
Oh, sorry, it is Gatorland.
Why would you say Gator?
Well, I thought it was a pun. I thought it was from Gatorland, but it said
No,
Gatorade.
it's Gatorland.
It was like
'cause
helping it.
It's like a shirt that I like.
Yeah, you are a big fan of
And
Gators.
I love Gatorland. Thanks. Bye.
All right, bye, babe. Good time to watch some longer YouTube videos like Nortel. We've already watched Nortel. Isn't that? Oh yeah, I wanted to watch this today. Apparently, there's a new How Money Works video where they used my voice in the intro, and then left a comment saying "glizzy, glizzy, glizzy" or something. So I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that video. We'll watch that with chat. We'll watch that with chat. And I also want to watch, well, there's a couple things, right? There's a couple things. Let me pull up some things that I wanted to watch with fucking, with chat, Chizzy chat. Damn, this is crazy. It's like watching an Atrioc video live. Where did you think all that stuff was recorded? You're not like the first person to say this. Where did you think do you think I recorded it offline and the chat is added, or what is? If the chat was AI, that is proof that AI just isn't there yet. Do you realize that AI generated chat would be smarter? AI generated chat would like be on topic. It would be dude, I'm so stuffed. It's crazy. Any intention of playing X Mission 33 on stream? What are you talking about? I already played it. Chat, tell them. You could be unironically not lying. I did play X Mission 33 on stream. Okay? And people were there and they were impressed. So what are you trying to get from me, dude? What are you trying to fucking? Is this a Lies of P situation again? More like Lies of A, am I right, fellow chatters? Huh? I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It just doesn't feel like it's for me. My God, is that such a crime? Is it such a crime in 2025 to play a game and be like, I think this is well made, but it's not for me? And you guys are like, wow, ship him off to the fucking gulag? Throw him in prison, straight to jail? It's like Paper Mario, but pretty. Paper Mario is a game that I notoriously hated for 4 years straight. Honestly, the one problem I had with Expedition 33, we can all say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. The French. That's right. It was too French. The exact same game, but you put it in a different country and suddenly it's incredible. But what am I going to do? I can't support the French. Bonjour. Yeah, I'll play Expedition 33 every year on May 33rd. I thought you were going to say turn-based combat. I mean, I'm not a big fan of turn-based combat generally, but it's not like I can never do it. Like Slay the Spire as turn-based combat. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's just a vibe thing. Listen, I also did not grow up liking Final Fantasy games and JRPGs, and you know what I'm saying. It's not my shit. And this is like a love letter to those games. It's like if someone made a love letter to anchovy pizza. Like I don't like anchovy pizza, so I respect your love letter, but I don't want to play it. I gotta blow my nose, dude. It's fucking it's so stuff. God damn, dude. I hate being sick. I hate it. Why doesn't, dude, can you guys just apologize to Fauci already? You guys know Dr. Fauci created all disease in this country and unleashed it on us because he's mad at you because you won't be woke enough. Can you please just be woker? Can someone please just dye your hair blue so that Dr. Fauci gets rid of this disease? It's fucking crazy. I'll be woke, Fauci. I'll do it. I just don't want to be sick anymore. It's been so frustrating. I had to record the book club today, the Lemonade Stand book club, bro. Full disclosure. Well, no, I mean never mind. I'm not gonna say it. No, but you didn't read the book? No, I read the book. That's my full disclosure is someone else didn't read the book in our book club. You have to find it to watch out. You have to watch it to find out. I read the book. Full disclosure, Aiden doesn't know how to read. So it was actually kind of hard to do a book report or a book club, I'm sorry, when Aiden is illiterate. Like it turns out he does not know how to read. He doesn't know the letters or the words. So anyway, it was interesting. I think it was interesting enough to listen to if you hadn't read the book, to be honest. Because, I mean, look, at the end of the, I'll talk about it a little bit because fuck it, why not? I mean, it's in a tier 2 Patreon. No one's gonna fucking see it outside of like, a few thousand people. So, I want to talk just a little bit about it. All right, here's this book. Let me talk about it. I'll just give you a little fucking. All right, this book's called The Price of Peace, and it's about the life of John Maynard Keynes, who's this guy, who basically made the foundational economic theories that most major developed nations use in some form today. This guy's like Forrest Gump of economics in that he is in the room during like every major meeting before World War One, during World War One, after World War One, before World War Two, during World War Two, after World War Two. Like he's that guy, dude. He's there for all the shit. And the first third of the book is about how much gay sex he has. Not kidding. Not exaggerating, even in the slightest. The first third of the book is about his life and about how much insane gay sex he has. Which is, he has orgy level gay sex on the regular. Then, shockingly, he breaks straight and he meets this woman who turns him straight. Well, I guess not straight, but at least bisexual. I mean, at least, he opens his mind. So he marries this woman and is forever straight from then on. Well, actually, I think he cheats with a guy at the beginning of the relationship and then becomes faithful. This is not the focus of the book, but I'm just telling you the juicy detail parts. Um, it's he's converting the gays. Yeah. What's really funny about him? Well, there's a lot of things that are funny about it. One again, I'm just telling you the sex parts real quick because I just thought it was so funny because they're mixed in so effortlessly between like, yeah, and then Churchill wanted to return to the gold standard, and Keynes was like, yeah, maybe, but we can't do it at that price ratio. Oh, by the way, at the same time, Keynes was trying to fuck his new wife, but he was still gay. So she put on man's pajamas to like get him in the mood. That is like actually in the book. It's just so funny, you know. It flows like that. And I found it to be quite a fascinating book. I really enjoyed it, and it made me reevaluate. You know, I probably had a more negative impression of Keynes going into this book than I did afterwards, where I thought he was a very interesting guy who lived quite a life. He definitely had a full fucking life and made a huge impact. But you know, if I were to put it really, really simply, the idea of Keynesianism is when times are when times are bad, stinky, recession. Oh no, the government should print money. Well, the government should borrow or print? Borrow, print, lower interest rates, to stimulate the economy, to get aggregate demand up. The idea is if you have an unemployed person and you take government money and you give them a job, even if that job is just digging a hole in the ground, then that person now has money to spend. It gets back into the economy. It starts roaring it back to life. Things are good. And if I'm being honest with you, this is one of the big things we discussed in the book club, but like, one thing you'll notice if you look at real life is that this is all people took from this. This is all that governments took from this guy wrote a lot. He wrote like a lot of theory. It went a lot in depth, but this is the main thing people took, and they call it Keynesianism. But, you know, at the very least, there was another part to it, which was when times are good, he was like, all right, you know, this is obviously true. Like in the Great Depression, we should borrow and spend and things. But when times are good, you should save, raise taxes, and increase interest rates, rates. So like everyone in all governments in the world looked at this and said, ew, yucky. No, we'll just do the first part. We'll just do that first part. That first part sounds fire. In fact, what if we did the first part in both times? That'd be fucking based. Then we'd always be green. It's like, you know, I love to eat the candy. I don't want the vegetables. That's just one of the things I discussed. And like, there's so much more to this man and his philosophy. And he really wasn't just like a boring numbers economist. He really thought about economics as like a very human field and how it impacted real humans. He was very, very against increasing inequality and was trying to find ways to fight it. But in practice, most of what has been taken from him and his ideas is this idea of like tools the government has when times are tough. Different levers you can pull when shit looks bad. And so I question myself whether Keynesianism is possible in real life. You know, I think he's a brilliant guy, and I think if we followed his advice, and it's much deeper than this, I'll get that. If we followed his advice, I do think it would probably lead to a more equitable, prosperous society that reduced downtimes. But I still am more of a guy that is like you cannot trust politicians with the credit card. I was like that before reading this book, and I've my eyes have been opened a bit. This guy has strong arguments, but I still have that core part of my belief system, which is that politicians, if they use the credit card right, it can be beneficial. But I don't believe they ever will, which is why I'm supportive of things like some kind of standard or a debt break or something that limits their ability to borrow from the future and make the lives of the young hard for the old's benefit. But anyway, it was fascinating, and I it's worth learning more about. For governments to saving mean literally putting money away or mostly paying down your debt. I mean, either way works fine. I mean, the main thing is like when times are, this is like almost the most important thing. When times are prosperous, that is when you would raise taxes. And that is like never done. That is just never done. It doesn't matter what party really. Nobody does that. It's so unthinkable to be like, things are going good, so we're going to raise taxes. Even in America, in our best times, we only raised taxes when things were terrible. Post, Great Depression. It's like impossible to imagine people being like, yeah, times are good, let's raise taxes. It doesn't seem to happen in the real world. Does Keynes or Marx have the better theory? I started reading some Marx. Listen, I'm not a fan, but I don't want to critique it without having finished my reading. So give me some time. I would love to do a clip on why I personally am skeptical of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin specifically. Specifically their two ideas and how they worked out in practice make me skeptical. Especially with knowing what we know about how humans respond to these incentives. But what I'm trying to get across, I feel like when people, it's so wild how the internet's gotten that if I criticize Karl Marx, well, I must fucking want poor people to starve. It's like I've been reading so much lately, and I've been trying to think. I think inequality is the great problem of our time, and I know that many different incredibly intelligent people have written solutions that they think might work. And what I've been trying to do is look at the real world and see like what actually works. And where I land, I've heard this, I've made this speech a million times, and I'm actually kind of tired of making it, but it's so important to me that I'm going to say it one more time. What I currently stand is like, and this is from reading this book and The Great Leveler and Capital by Piketty and all these books, is like, I think you might say the Nordic model now or the US model in the 40s to 70s, which was kind of like high top tax rates, a prosperous union membership, but still the wealth creation comes from free markets and innovation and lots of companies competing. Also strong antitrust enforcement to make monopolies break up. These are like the components I see of like the best solution for a middle class. There, by the way, I want to say something that sounds obvious, but is kind of hard for people online to understand, which is that there has been no utopia in human history. In fact, our periods of like peace and stability are relatively rare in all of human history. Like most experiments or most governments or most empires, they all end in disaster and failure. They all go poorly. And so these few multiple decade periods of like relative peace and prosperity are worth studying because they don't exist normally. And a lot of people make it sound like it's so easy. If we just do this, well, then we're good. And that's just not true. And people smarter than all of us have thought about these problems and come up with solutions that often didn't work or stumped them. And so it's kind of reductive to be like, oh yeah, I got it figured out. I'm a fucking 24-year-old Discord kitten with an anime profile picture. The solution is just this. It's like, come on. No, you don't. You don't have it figured out, bro. Stop. Please, please, please open your mind a little bit to the fact that perhaps there's more beyond what you've personally studied or listened to. But that's where I'm at now, and I think it's going to evolve as I read more. I will say on the subject of Marx, well, I should do a whole separate video, but on the subject of Marx, I read the Communist Manifesto in full. I just wanted to, because I think I would be critical of it, and so I wanted to read it before I made up my mind. And there's a lot I should get into this more that I disagree with. But what I particularly liked, what I think me and Marx could go handshake emoji on, what me and Marx could handshake emoji on is estate taxes. If anyone's watched my content for a long time, I am so pro estate taxes. And like heavy ones. And like, I mean, I don't think he phrases it in the way I'm phrasing it, like a state tax at a high rate, but he has this general concept of like heavy estate taxes. And that's probably 100% to him. That's probably 100%. But to me, a high, even 80% estate tax is like totally reasonable. It's totally reasonable because I think one of the biggest corrupting things in society is deeply inherited wealth, much less than, like even someone as obscene as Jeff Bezos, you might say. I find Jeff Bezos' grandson being a billionaire forever. Dude, I'm dying. I'm dying. He's killing me. He's killing me. I find the Walton family to be much more damaging to the social fabric than Sam Walton himself being rich in his time. So we got to combat capitalism then? Well, listen, I think I'm disagreeing with you, but I think when you talk about socialism or capitalism, the problem is that nobody agrees on definitions. What you call capitalism and what I call it might be entirely different things. And then we talk past each other and then nobody's happy. And often we agree on a lot of things, but because of our terms, there's no progress. What I would say is, like all human systems, all of them, every human system, including, you can look at 1940s, no, not 40s, 50s, 60s Russia. You can look at China under Mao. You can look at all systems, right? Wait, sorry, what was it? What was your question? Oh, it was about, yes, capitalism. Sorry, I'm stuffed. What I want to say is that I think here how do I put it? We kind of talked about this on the Patreon, so I'm trying to. This is kind of from the book Great Leveler, which is that all human societies tend to, and this includes the ones I'm talking about, the socialist ones and the capitalist ones, they tend to have inequality rise over time because human beings, no matter what the game is, find a way to, they adapt to the meta. Every system has built-in entropy and they adapt to the meta. They have a hierarchy. They have an elite class. It's just people exploit the system. It's very silly to imply that like the inner circle of the Communist Party in Russia during Stalin's time did not have an extreme advantage over the common people. They got, it might be like a situation where all housing is free, but for a regular person, you're waiting 20 years to get a shit house on a list, and someone close to the party gets an incredible one in a short term. That's just how things, the power tends to concentrate. And so you have to fight it. It's always a fight against entropy. So yeah, I think you have to fight the bad parts of any system. And that's why I've been leaning towards this like guardrailed capitalism, kind of like what they have in the Nordics, where there's billionaires in Sweden. Sweden has billionaires, but Sweden also has high top tax rates and a strongly funded social safety net. So that if you try a business idea and fail, you still have health care, you still have schooling, you still have. Do you understand? And I think one quote that is like really important for people to understand and drill in is that Winston Churchill one about democracy being the worst form of government ever designed, except for all the others. I think you should have that no matter what system you like. You should think that about your system. You should understand that every system sucks. Every system has deep, 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 deep weaknesses that are exploited by human beings who are trying to rise up in it. And so no matter what system you decide to fight for, I don't really care. It's your choice. Understand that if you think of it like as a utopia, you're going to fail and you're going to be sad. And people are going to be sad and starve. What you have to do is think of it as like, this is the best thing we got and we have to fight, we have to punch it, and we have to like work our hardest to make it palatable, to make it work for real life. Do you understand? So yeah, that's what I'm trying to get across. Because this is the way humans are. Like, listen, it's a modern marvel that we even have these periods of stability, given how much of human history is filled with, poverty and war and disaster. And capitalism is perfect until we burn up the planet in a few years. Listen, man, I'm also pro-environment. Listen, it's just us talking past each other with definitions, but like, would you agree that the largest emissions producer right now is China? Like, by a lot? No, I don't think China's socialist, really, but yeah, like, even in that example, it's like, we have to, not by population? You mean per capita is what you mean? Well, that's correct, but by raw amount. When the forests are burning, the raw amount matters. Pollution matters, right? So that's where the pollution is. So, and it's going up. They are moving towards solution way faster. Again, that sounds like propaganda, man. Because if you look at the graph, the China one is completely up to the right. The EU is moving the fastest. If you had to pick one, the EU is the one that's gone down, and America is the second most going down. It's the one decreasing. So I think a lot of this stuff's not based on reality. Hey, Doug. Doug is talking about the purge again. Bro, we had to listen. I'm gonna say this. This is a fucking live exclusive, Doug. I think we're gonna cut down that purge section because you're gonna get comments. We're gonna have to cut that down, bro. You were obviously joking, and I have no problem. But you said it so many times that I think you're gonna be annoyed with the comments. That I would like to protect you in general. But I'll leave this in the Big A clip and say you're pro purge. Atrioc, did you ever play Omega Strikers when they went hard advertising by paying streamers to play? No. Can I ask a serious question? Is that something you care about? Why did you come in here today asking about Omega Strikers? Was there a purpose? Is that... what's interesting about Omega Strikers is that did it even work? I know they were able to get some buzz, but how much did they sell? Oh, they sold quite a bit. Oh, they did well. No, they have 23,000 positive reviews on Steam, which means they made plenty of money, and it probably has skins in that game. The game might be dead now or whatever, but they made enough money. I guess the only thing you have to worry about is when you spend a lot of money on a live service game, you might end up not making a profit, even if you sell a lot of copies. Well, is it free? Oh, it's free. Never mind. I take it back. It's free. Maybe they didn't make any money. It's free. Shit was free, so they only made skins money. I don't know how much money they made. If it's dead, then they're not doing as well as I thought. Can I get your thoughts on a Hamilton joke I've been working on? Okay. Yeah, I'm dying, but yes. We're all waiting. Greased wheel. Hamilton joke. Hamilton, if Aaron Burr was a centipede. I didn't spend a cent that wasn't mine. You centipede, that's fine. I feel like it might need work. Honestly. I feel like it might. I'm not saying it's not on track to be the funniest joke I've ever heard. It just feels like it might need a workshop. What about like Hamilton if he was peeing and a penny came out? That's a cent I peed. You see how that do you see how that sort of brings it all back together? It's a powerful. Okay, well, obviously, tough crowd. Not really. I understand that I'm like ahead of my time with comedy. But, Atrioc, have you seen the new Fortnite Star Wars mini season? I can't tell if this is like an ad. Why are people coming in and be like, hey, Atrioc, have you seen the brand new Battle Pass? And what do you, this is not Vortex Hero. You are a 41-month sub. I played Fortnite for a month 2 years ago. Have you seen the new chicken tenders at McDonald's? Wait a minute. Sorry, so low key, I'm curious. Are there actually new chicken tenders at McDonald's? Because I'm a little sick and I'm craving chicken tenders. I'm craving chicken tenders. Like, I might order it right now for the movie. I'm craving it, dude. I'm West craving it. I could go for some fucking chicken tenders right now. They're not crispy at all. I do like them crispy. They're called McCrispy strips, and they're not crispy, is what you're saying. The new McCrispy strips. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'll try it. This is business expense. I'm doing it on stream. It's a business expense. We can do a review, bra review of the fucking strips. But what if they're soggy? Oh, I don't want soggy crispers. I'm too sick to deal with it. I'm too sick. If I have a soggy crisper, it'll just ruin my day. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. All right, I gotta see if Ari wants McDonald's first. Sorry, I got to. You ever, dude? Have you ever? None of you are married. Some of you are married. Maybe some of you are married. Have you ever married and you decide one day that you are super craving a treat, and you order something on Uber Eats, and you don't tell your wife so that she can add something to the order?
Poetry isn't even a word.
Wait, what's the audio?
Enough to say what this is. You've grown past the silly raps and songs, and you're a higher life form. You're almost a CEO now.
Oh, it was fucking. It was the song after Icarus on the Get to Work parody songs playlist. It was a motivational speech by Ask the Storyteller. Powerful stuff. I can't bro. Zune started playing. Why would it be a Zune? Why would it be a Zune? It's on my computer. I'm listening to YouTube. Why would it be a fucking Zune? All right, let me blow my nose. Let me see if Ari wants anything McDonald's. And then we're going to watch that How Money Works video. Oh, God in heaven. Hey, what do you want from McDonald's? Why? Because I'm craving it. You gotta come to stream. You gotta take it. I don't want to be a public. Too late. You already did it. You already was on stream, so you gotta come and order your meal. And you can wear. He be coking that nose up. Do you feel proud of yourself when you write that? Do you type that and you smile and laugh to yourself and think, oh my God, I'm adding so much joy to the world? Here's your Mario. Oh, you got the Yule. I want to hold her.
She's very nervous.
What a sweet dog in every respect, in every way.
She's tasting the air.
What a gorgeous. All right, what do you want from Mickey D's?
The McDonald's.
From Stinky Donald's.
Yeah, Stinky McCrab, more like it.
Well, let's not turn off potential sponsors, you know?
I kind of just want a cute piece. Get me the McDouble.
You want a McDouble?
That's it, yeah.
That's all you want is a McDouble.
Yeah.
Do you want this version right here?
Nah.
Just the original.
Just as is.
Oh, it's a BOGO McDouble. You want 2 McDoubles?
Sure. That'll be a quadruple.
All right.
If you're just tasting the air like a dumb dog.
Yeah, she's very sweet. She's a very sweet dog. And she's very pleasing.
Are you getting fries?
Yeah, I'm out of medium French.
All right, we can share those, right?
Okay.
She's such a sweet bitch.
She's a very sweet dog. Maya, can you do a high five for the chat?
Hold on, let her get... Maya, high five. Oh, she's nervous. High five.
What a good! Fucking love this dog. All right, take her.
Yeah.
All right, it's coming.
Weird craving.
Damn, what a good dog. Can you believe that she just did a shake all by herself? Hey, what do you guys want from McDonald's? Chat, it was so rude of me. Why would I order just for myself and Ari? What do you guys want? Let me add your order. You want a McFlurry? Okay, let's just add that. And a Big Mac. Want a Frosty. 55 burgers, okay. 20 nuggets, a Grimace shake. I don't know if they still have the Grimace shake. Everything from the register. Oh, you want me to rob the McDonald's? Do you think that one day I'll be able to, if we get enough of a dystopian society, I'll be able to tell an Uber driver to rob a McDonald's for me? Like I'll be able to pay somebody. Like I can pay TaskRabbit to that's interesting. It's not a bad idea. All right. Well, let's see what the total is here after I added all of your stuff. Boy, this is why I'm not. This is just so goddamn expensive. All right. We got 2 McDoubles, a medium French fry, a drink, and a 4-piece McCrispy strips meal. What do you think that cost? What do you think that cost? Okay, somebody guessed it exactly. How did you do that? How did you guess it exactly? Are you watching? What the fuck? How did you guess it to the cent? Did you just put in the same thing instantly? Yeah, it was $39.43. How did you guess that exactly? That's wild. That's wild. Did I tip? Yeah. I tipped knowledge, as I always do. I always write a little note to my Uber driver, and I tell them how they can strike it big. I tell them what great marketing channels to watch to turn their life around. Exposure? Yeah, I mean, listen, when the guy comes here, I'm going to bring him on stream and shout him out. Shout out his channel. Yeah, I tip him. My tip is, did you know that if AirPods was its own company, it'd be bigger than Nike? And I write that down in the app, dude. And fucking change lives out here. I change lives. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you can only tip cash while I can tip knowledge. Guess that's just the difference. I guess that's just the difference. But tell the Uber driver to buy gold. Well, buying gold, who knows? At this point, after the run up it's had. I'm late. What was the big news, guys? Nobody tell him. Nobody tell him. Nobody tell him. We always keep the big news secret. Dude, I'm dying. I'll tell you that I'm fucking dying. I felt so sick this week, and it feels like every day that I feel slightly better, I come back the next day with a different symptom. Shit sucks. Shit fucking sucks. I hate being sick. God, nobody has it harder than any in human history than me. Nobody has it harder in human history. On top of that, I'm a streamer, so I have to do the hardest job in the world. This just fucked up, you know? It just feels like... Hey, good news. Wait, fucking good news. Come on, let's just shoot the shit for a bit. Here's some good news I would love to hear you guys talk about. Luca is fucking thin. Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about the fact that Luca is getting thin? Look at that, dude. He's already looking in crazy shape. Bro's fucking slimming down. This is huge. Well, it's the opposite of huge, really. Maybe he's on Ozempic. I don't know. Look at thin Luca, bro. My God. Bro is fucking mogging. I don't even see a burger in sight. Usually you'd see him with a burger in each hand. Burger Doncic come back. Are you looking at his face? Yeah, dude. He's got a neck again. Bro, he's back. This is that Luca magic. Just wait. Just fucking wait. It's happening. I thought that was... he's like really committing to it. And there was that article came out about his conditioning. It's because he's in Europe. They have zero good food. Once he gets back to the U.S., he'll be back to his old weight. Dude, there's nothing that could piss all Europeans off more than saying they collectively have zero good food. That's actually so funny. That's actually so funny. I can't think of one thing that would piss them off more. I think that's such a funny spot. Oh, man. I just think even if they know you're joking, they couldn't take it. They like just hearing it will make them upset. That's very funny. I mean, the UK does have dog shit food. I'll say it. The UK's best food is Indian food. Like they call it UK, like London food, but it's just Indian food, bro. That's funny. I'm actually crying at you saying that. And it wasn't even that big of a joke. I just think it's so funny. Because if you... It's like any European from any country. If you said unironically, yeah, there's just no good food in Europe, but in America, they wouldn't be able to help themselves from getting mad. That's just like such a fucking like you solved it. Oh, dude, I'm actually bawling. I'm crying. It's so funny. And it's true. Yeah, I mean they don't even have burger. Ugh. They don't even have burger, dude. Like people in Italy don't know about pizza. Like, do they even know about Domino's? Do they even know about fucking Pizza Hut? All they have is some stupid shit, dude. Um, is it true they don't put cheese on their pizza? Yeah, it's true. In Europe, they don't put cheese on the pizza. They put woke. It's really sad, dude. The fucking pizza chefs there, they want to put cheese and they want to put tomato on there, but they have to put woke on it. It's so much worse. Um it's just really sad. Yeah, you have to put pronouns on it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's traumatic. I think that's what led to World War One. I'm not a scholar, but I think if you were to track it back, it was the way they um it was their food. Honestly, without joking, the food in Europe's pretty fire. European food's good. Um, Maybe one of the better parts of Europe. Um, Hot take liar. Well, I'm not counting the UK. Obviously, I'm not counting the UK. But in general, you can get some good. You should get some good. What actually? You know what? Here's the hot take. Here, I'll give you an actual hot take because that was kind of a lukewarm take. Here's the hot take: is that great food exists in both places, obviously, and at the high end, if you're going to spend a little more money, um, there's not a problem. You can get great food all over America. You can get great food in Europe. In fact, you could even make the argument that the real culinary capitals of like New York, LA, or whatever have more options. More, you can make that argument. But here's why Europe food is good. It's that the everyday average food. I'm trying to find just like a basic fucking. Does anyone have sandwich Europe? Just like you can get them like everywhere. It just looks like this or something. I'm trying to find like this. Here it is. 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 This is a perfect example. Okay? You can just get like good, healthy sandwiches. Not necessarily this ingredients, whatever, but like everywhere. Everywhere, the standard stuff is good. And it's like tastes better and it's like healthier. That is the benefit of Europe for like a day to day, like anywhere, any fucking spot, like an airport, you can get like a good sandwich like this. But like if I was at an airport in America, I just cannot get that. And if I could get something, it would have worse quality bread, worse quality. So, that's the benefit I give to Europe is like more of the day to day food. Not like a restaurant meal. I can get good stuff either way. I can get that anywhere. Anywhere I've been in the world, you can get good food if you want to fucking spend money. But if you want like a cheap ass delicious sandwich, it's just so nice in Europe. Anyway, I'm ordering my DoorDash McDonald's, so I don't really give a shit about any of that. Okay. I have to blow my nose again. 1 second. Christ! Should we be concerned? I mean, my nose is just stuffed. Is that a problem? Have you heard about Subway? They make sandwiches, eat fresh, as they say. The thing is, I fucking like Subway, but I can't deny that, like, if I'm an American and I'm like, I want a sandwich, I don't want to make it, and I go to Subway, and if I was a European and I go to like a fucking local cafe or even a fucking gas station has those high quality sandwiches, it's just better. It's just better. Like Subway is it's good for what it is, but I don't pretend that it's good. Like, I like it. I like Subway. I fuck with Subway, dude. I've gotten Subway many a time. Honestly, I have never, ever not felt happy going to a Subway, a Jimmy John's, a Jersey Mike's. Like, I always walk out happy. I get a big, fucking tasty sub. I munch down on it, and I feel happy. I never... Firehouse subs. Firehouse is great. I get a little bag of chips. I don't know. I'm always happy, dude. This is genuinely my first chat ever. I'm in college studying urban planning. Well, you know what? When we have first-time chatters, Rachel Whitfield, we let them pick the topic. And so you have seized upon that. And Rachel, you are asking that you're in college studying urban planning, and you've appreciated my take on the housing crisis. I want to know your thoughts on how Japan has solved their housing crisis and if we in the U.S. can do it, like Build Quick, Think Later. So I talked about this. I talked about this on the podcast. I want to pull up the book. I was just explaining my thoughts on this whole abundance theory. Many people have opinions on this book that have not read it. And what I was trying to say, I was talking about it, is I think this book is being abused by both people who are for it and against it. There's like some corporatist Democrats who are seizing upon this to try to make it a larger movement that doesn't require them to face any reckoning or change, but they haven't read it either. And then there's, like farther left people who haven't read it at all, who have decided it's like a neoliberal. And if you actually read the book, which I think almost no one has, I was talking with Aiden about it, we both have actually read it, and it's like nobody that talks about it is being honest, is that it's just not a big idea book. It's not a book that's like going to solve all problems or should be the only thing the Democratic Party stands for or whatever. It's just like a really specific book about some specific rules that don't work, that have been written, that have like been tested, they don't work, and they're just slowing down progress. And one of the main ideas throughout this whole book is like, dude, we have terrible zoning laws. We have horrendous zoning laws in this country. Like, if you want to build like a dense apartment building, you can't do it. You can't do it. No, I think, again, Code, I know you haven't read the book. Tiberium, you haven't read the book either. Like, both of you have not read this book. You could not describe the specifics of the book. You could not, you know what I'm saying? When you read the book, you can just tell that it's like all based in fact. It's just not as big of an idea as people are making it out to be, which is causing all this anger and argument about it. People are quoting things they don't understand. But it actually is, anyway, if your answer is about the housing crisis, like step one thing you gotta know is that like, we have horrendous zoning laws in America. You cannot build. It's like, let me give you an example. If somehow there was a rule that you could only make Ferraris and we ended up with an overproduction of Ferraris, and then people are looking around like, where is the affordable low-cost Honda Civics? Why do they not exist? Where are the Honda Civics? And it's because literally it is written, can't or isn't profitable. Can't. That is what you're not seeming to get, is that you cannot build it. Oh, the Mickey D's is here.
How does that happen?
What?
That was so fast.
I know. Crazy.
What?
How about that? That's awesome. What speed? Why is it so cold?
What's it?
I don't know. The bag is cool. Maybe I was on the drink side. All right. Let's see. We're doing a review. Here's your double McDoubles.
Yay!
And you get a little fry with it.
Yay! Wait, did you have fries?
Yeah, I got fries.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm going to try my... Ordering a bottle of water is insane. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I care about the environment. So that I'm going to take this bottle and I'm going to bury it so that it can grow into a tree. Fucking dumbass. Okay? Let's see. This is the chicken crisper. Wait, I'm going to try this one because it looks better. This is the new McDonald's chicken crisper. Let's give it an honest review. But I need a dip. I need a honey mustard dip. It looks like a pee-pee. But I think you got some problems. I think you... I think your brain don't work so good. Let's see. All right, here we go. Crispy crisper. Let's get an authentic bite here. All right. That shit is not crispy. But it's kind of tasty. Like, it's not crispy, but it's not... people are saying, like, dry. But, like, with the honey mustard and the... like, the bite is good, but it's not crispy. But what I'll say is, I feel like low key, I would just prefer a chicken nugget, like a 10-piece chicken nugget. That's my review. Was it worth $39 when you put it like that? When you put it like that, it puts it in a stark contrast. And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, of course. At least the fries are good. How much do the actual tenders cost? I don't know. I can check, I guess. How much did the actual tenders cost? View receipt. The 4-piece McCrispy Strips meal cost $13 something. $13. Yeah. Yeah. LA prices. Is it the price in the store? That's the price on DoorDash, yeah. I'm sorry, on Uber Eats. That's the meal. I'm sorry, it's the meal. I got fries and a drink. Yeah, I got fries and a drink. $13, 4-piece fries and a drink. Medium fries. That's not that crazy. I mean, it's not, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking cooked. That's not what it used to be, but I'm in a pot in LA. That doesn't sound that crazy. How did I get to $39? So I added 2 McDoubles. That's another $8. I added a medium French fries, another $5. I added Dasani bottled water. That's $2.40. That brings the subtotal to $30. Then there's a service fee of $5. Then there's a California driver benefits fee of 50 cents. There's a bag fee of 10 cents. There's a delivery fee of $2. There's a tax of $2.50. And you end up with $32.23, and then I have a tip. The tip was knowledge, so flat. Damn. That is fucking tasty. That's fucking tasty. Anyway, I just billed it all to my friend Gavin Newsom, so I'm not worried about it, all right? Like, for me, I don't pay it. I just, because I'm friends with the governor, it's like, I put it on the fucking tab. I put it on the taxpayer's dime, honestly. If you're a California taxpayer, you are paying for my Uber Eats order. I saw Ezra Klein say something about abundance. I think it's the crux of the issue of people's discussion. Everyone wants to say regulation good or regulation bad, but the thing is, it's impossible to make broad generalizations like that. What specific regulation is does matter. Yeah, I mean, the whole book is like nuance the book, honestly. People say, yeah, there's just so many things I've heard said about it that are just not true. And it's obvious if you really think about it that like some rules we've written just don't work. But anytime you ever say like we have to remove this regulation, people think, I mean, literally, I think this. This book kind of opened my eyes, but like I think this. If anyone ever says we have to get rid of a regulation, I literally picture a corporation dumping toxic waste in a river. That's my first thought is like, no matter what, if they just say, get rid of regulation. And I think that is a learned response, but you know, just being super raw and real. I mean, some of these, like in California, we have CEQA, which was written by Ronald Reagan. And it's like an environmental protection supposed regulation that is just used by developers to sue other developers to block their building. There's just so many. There's so many weird rules that have been written. And also, let's be real. Let's be fucking real. We all know this. Most local governments are controlled by the few rich homeowners in the place that block any new building so they can keep their town exactly the way it was. That's just true. That's just fucking true. You just can't get around that. My issue is that Ezra Klein does not seem to get to the root of the problem, which is that wealthy people being incentivized to block building of housing. See, that is crazy. That is so proof to me you haven't read the book, because that is what the book is like entirely about. That's what makes me want to crash out. It's like he is so specific. He mentions rich people showing up to town halls and having a Pez dispenser of fake reasons they want to block spending. Like, it's one of the things that stuck with me. It's like there'll be a rich people that show up, they're like, they all want to say, I want to block this apartment building because it'll make my house price goes down. But they can't say that. So they go, well, it'll ruin the character of the neighborhood. Well, we have to do an environmental study. Well, we can't build it because we turned down that other building. And they have like 400 fucking reasons other than the real one, which is like, I don't want my house price to go down. And that's just the way it breaks down. Is like, there's like entrenched people that own houses that do not want the price to go down. And it goes down when you build a big apartment building next door. And so we need like more, I think, federal zoning changes that make it really hard for NIMBYs to have so much influence. To be honest, dude, I seriously think there's a strong case. Not for all of society, but for housing specifically, that a lot of the problem comes back to like upper middle class people. In most problems, it's like Jeff Bezos. It's the biggest billionaires. But in housing specifically, the problem is a lot of like people who aren't overwhelmingly rich, but own property and just block any change. Steph Curry's fault. Anyway, so Rachel, I'm sorry. I don't think you're even still here. It was your first time chat message, and I ate at McDonald's in the middle of your answering questions. You probably left. So you probably did not stick around. I appreciate you coming for your first stream, and I paused in the middle, but I do think it's a fascinating question. And my current thinking on the housing problem in America is that the really biggest issue is NIMBYism. There's a lot of issues. And one of the ways NIMBYism manifests itself is by abusing regulations that were written for other purposes, to block anyone from building and to make it really expensive to just build affordable apartments. Can you blame people for not wanting their biggest investment to go down in value? That's the thing, Safe Socks. I don't. If the majority of people already owned a home and didn't want it to go down in value and agreed on that, fine. Fuck it. You have the majority. But what happens in practice is that there are a minority of people, but there are a majority of people that show up to town halls and like complain. They have a majority of influence, but they're not a majority of people. The majority of people would benefit from more building. So it's this weird mismatch where they've sort of captured the government process, even though they don't have a majority of public opinion or of people. Civil engineer here. We had to do city council meetings before all of our project, and it's so annoying fielding questions from random boomers that live in the area. Yeah, as an example. And it's not like they don't have a right to show up and ask questions, but it's just the only people that show up are people that already are established boomers with property. You know? So it's skewed. The student that just moved to the city and wants to get an apartment to try and build a life there, they don't show up to these fucking meetings. They're struggling. They're trying to figure it out. So it's why can't someone run on a platform saying I'm making housing? My nose is so stuffed. I sound fucking cartoonish in my own head, at least. I don't know if you can hear it. My nose is so stuffed. It's crazy. This is so annoying. I gotta blow it again. I gotta fucking. Oh. Have developers consider making an apartment that'll improve the neighborhood? Yeah, that's what they end up doing. After like 400 rounds of arguing with the local boomer population and zoning restrictions, they end up making a luxury apartment, one small luxury apartment with like, $2.5K a month rent. Because that's all that can get approved. That's the only thing that won't, like, literally we have an overbuilding problem for luxury apartments and an underbuild. We build a lot of Ferraris and we build no Honda Civics in housing. And it's, the demand is there to build it. That's the thing that I think people who are just general doomers get wrong, is that there's actually really concrete examples of many times of people trying to build that stuff and it gets blocked. And trying to build something like that and getting it blocked is financially ruinous, because usually you have to take on debt to start the project. So it's like the demand is, but the profit isn't. No, the profit is there too. I don't think you understand that. Like, people act like there's nobody making, like Walmart doesn't make profit off regular workers. like the making stuff that is low cost for regular people is profitable. People do it all the time. Honda Civics are an example. I'm just saying, like, people make stuff for regular people all the time. You can do it. You could make a dense apartment building and make money on it. It's not that crazy. It's just you can't build it. Do you ever think Profit and do you ever notice that Profit and Profit sound the same? Yeah, there's a fire rap bar from who's this from? Whether it's God Almighty or the Almighty Dollar, we follow the prophets like we. Oh wait, what the fuck is that bar? It's so good. Whether it's God Almighty or the Almighty Dollar, we follow the prophets like it's something or Dalai Lama. Who's that from? It wasn't Diddy. What is that fucking song? I love that song. Just Begun. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. Just Begun.
The cab down.
I feel like it's really important for Democrats to acknowledge that solving housing issues via deregulation does not solve issues with wealth disparity and healthcare costs. That's what I just said, right? That's what I opened with. But I think you are incorrectly and maliciously attributing this to the book. The book never claims to be the solution to all problems. It's just the book basically says, hey, look, in America, we used to build frequently. We built a lot of things. We built, like, most of our infrastructure, the Hoover Dam, nuclear power plants, most buildings are like pre-1970s. We used to build this shit all the time. Now suddenly we can't build it anymore. Now it takes decades to get any project done. And he wanted to answer that question. That's the main thing of the book. It's not like, here's a solution to all our problems. This is not going to solve wealth inequality. This is not, he didn't want it to be a platform. They didn't write that book to be a platform for the whole fucking party. It's been foisted there. It's just a specific book about certain rules that have been abused. So I think it's a little bit silly, the discourse around it, honestly. I find it to be, it's so obvious that most people that talk about it haven't read it on both sides. There's people that support it that haven't read it. Do you think Gavin read it? Honestly, I would have said no, but to prep for my interview with him, I watched his interview with Ezra Klein, the writer of that book, and it was clear that he had read it, or at least had good talking points by his staff, because he had specifics. It was like, and he was able to discuss it. He might have skimmed it, I don't know. Maybe he didn't internalize it, but it was clearly prep. Like, he wasn't like just tell me about your book. But I mean, as I mentioned in my interview with Gavin, I can respect that it's difficult. I can respect that there's challenges. I can even respect that, like, in America, if you actually brutally fought through all the red tape to, like, get some stuff built, the chance of you even getting credit for it is probably low. Like, in America, even if you were to, like, do the hard part, you'd probably just get shit on by, I can respect all of that. However, at the end of the day, I can't give him credit for something he hasn't done. You have to do it. Like, housing prices have not gone down. We haven't built things. The California high-speed rail hasn't been built. And he has answers to these questions. And be like, well, there's this problem and we're working on it. We're making progress. But like, until you do it, it's all talk. Until it happens, it's talk. And I would caution him to not run for president until the people of his own state feel like he's accomplished or made meaningful progress on these goals. That's what I would caution him to do. I did listen to his answers, and I do think it's harder than everyone says. I will agree with that. I mean, especially in his other interview, he talked about, not even the one with me, he talked about, bro, like, if you are the governor and you tell a small town that they have to change their zoning laws to build more, they can just not do it and block you forever. It's like very fucking, like, even as the governor, your ability to, like, you have to sue them. And so he has to sue them, which is what he's doing. And it takes time. I understand that it takes time. But I also just want everyone in politics to understand that nobody cares. Like, either do it or, nobody wants to hear talk anymore. Nobody cares. Like, you have to, it probably is hard, but you have to do it. It's not the point, we, if you're so smart, why don't you fix the issues of going to government? Yeah, I'll just do that after I finish eating my McCrisper on stream. Step 1, order McDonald's on stream as a Twitch streamer. Step 2, president. shit. Jesus Christ. I hate being sick, dude. Do you think abundance applies as relevant outside the U.S.? I think the general idea of finding a way to make government work better for the people and not get caught up in things they get abused is fine, but like the specifics don't. Like the book is just filled with so many American specifics. Like the specifics, like in Australia, you know, you can't tackle the housing problem without tackling negative gearing. Until you can figure out that every Australian has to buy a property because it's so tax advantaged. Until you solve that problem, that's the core. That's the incentive is so strong. You can't avoid it. And that's an entirely different problem than in America. It works under socialism too, right? It's kind of economically neutral as regulation. It's so funny because the word socialism is so broad. I mean, you could mean Chairman Mao, or you could mean, you know, Sweden. Like you could be talking about so many different things. Yeah, you could be talking about the U.S. in the 1960s, basically policy. Like, I can't. I don't think it would work under a single party authoritarian state with no private property and all of, you know, every major corporation nationalized. Would it work under like a bureaucratic, heavy safety net place like Sweden? Yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just recovering with my McDonald's and my eating. Do you ever think that U.S. become more than a two-party system? Yeah, I do. I don't know when, but yes, I do. I mean, what's happened so many times. The parties have changed and adapted, and yeah, we've had. Yeah, I think the party system will change. I don't know when, and it could be just a dramatic realigning of what the party is completely. But yeah, I think that's not even that crazy. Just you don't know when. It could be decades. It could be a long time. Is MAGA the third? I mean, yeah, there's a real argument to be made that the Republican Party of like a Jeb Bush is dead. Of like a Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush, John McCain, that party doesn't even exist. Like the party has been murdered. That party was skinned alive, and now Trump is wearing their skin as a hat. You could make an argument that the party has completely changed. It does not exist. Because like the current Republican Party is not. It's nothing like what that party was. It's just the MAGA party. It's entirely different. But, you know, that leaves the question of like what happens to that party after Trump. Because right now, the American Republican Party is a collection of very different groups that have very different goals that are all united under one aging reality TV star turned president. Like, there's many different groups in this party that have that want different things out of government and out of the system, and they have some common grievances, and they all support Donald Trump. And he has united a pretty big tent, to be honest. A pretty big tent. But they don't really get along. I mean, there's not a lot that like the Steve Bannon wing of the party has in common with the Elon Musk techno right wing of the party. They're not actually aligned on most of their goals and policies, but Trump sort of keeps it all somewhat together. Once he's gone, it does feel like it'll fractionalize and splinter. And it seems to turn almost entirely on it. Yeah, it does feel like he holds it all together. Him specifically. Whatever weird combination of things that makes up Donald Trump is the only thing that can hold this coalition together. No, his sons couldn't do it. They don't have whatever it is he has, good or bad. Okay, chat. I, first of all, want to check on the score of the T-Wolves game. And then I want to watch something. And I think we should watch that How Money Works video that apparently I am in the intro. Holy, close game. That's my Anthony Edwards impression. Choke artist. Wow. You're a LeBron fan? Yeah, T-Wolves beat us. What do you mean to say? What are you eating? A chicken crisper from McDonald's. It's not as crispy as the marketing would have you believe. I'll tell you that. The marketing would have you believe it's a crispy piece of chicken, and it's not. It's not crispy at all. All right, let's watch the fucking. Come on. How Money Works. The Great Corporate Extinction. The Great Corporate Extinction. 13-minute video.
2023.
Let's see what they got. The Great Corporate Extinction. Apparently, I'm featured in this video.
2023 saw a record number of new businesses being created here in America, with 5.5 million new companies being registered within a year. Data hasn't been published for 2024 yet, but most expectations suggest this record could be broken again. At the same time, it seems like every
Okay, I hope he's gonna cover this, and maybe he will, but just to be so clear, this is DoorDash, Airbnb, and Uber. Well, if you start a solopreneur Uber driving business, you create a small business so you can write all your expenses off on your taxes. But it doesn't mean that you're building a new business. This spike post-COVID is not like a sudden wave of entrepreneurship. This is people doing more gig work. This is like OnlyFans. Is that legal? Yeah, it's totally fine. You know, I have a business for streaming, right? Like I'm a one-person job. I guess I have 8-ish and a team, but for a while it's just me, right? And it's a one-person LLC that I you make a business. If you're an Uber driver, you should make a business for it, because then you can pay yourself a salary and have the rest of it, you can use business expenses to deduct it. It's a smart way to do business. But it doesn't mean the economy's thriving. I'm sure he's going to say that, but I just want to like...
Could be broken.
He moved on without saying it, so I wanted to bring it up.
Again, at the same time, it seems like every pre-revenue, pre-idea, pre-clue startup that vaguely mentions artificial intelligence is getting billions of dollars thrown at them by cashed-up investors. And yet, there is a problem that you may not have noticed. There just aren't that many companies anymore. In 1996, the market hit an all-time record of 8,090 companies publicly listed on the various stock markets around America.
Bro, you Zoomers never know about the 90s, dude. The thriving 90s. Fuck, the 90s were great. Millennials, we can say it. We can proudly say it. The 90s were fire, dude. Thriving middle class? Budget surplus for America? Tech felt like it was going to better our lives and not steal all of our attention and leave us sad and lonely? It was great, dude.
Today, almost 30 years later, despite the economy being 3 times larger and the market handling about 7 times as much capital, there are fewer than half as many companies publicly available to buy shares in. There are a lot of theories about what is going on here. From private equity making Wall Street irrelevant, corporate consolidation, to the dwindling of savings of average investors. But there are some even bigger issues at play here. So, where the f did all the companies go?
Where'd they go?
File, the largest toy store chain in the U.S., Toys R Us, has filed for bankruptcy protection.
Well, that's private equity.
Purdue Pharma, the company that made billions selling the prescription painkiller.
Time is almost up for Bed Bath & Beyond, filing for bankruptcy protection and liquidating hundreds of stores.
Some tech companies go public a bit too.
I'm sorry. Buy the dip. I didn't want to move on without telling you that if you don't take this opportunity now to buy the dip on Bed Bath & Beyond, you are missing your chance at generational wealth. BBB is due for a fucking comeback. I have been hodling. I took all my NVIDIA stock, sold that weak shit. I put it into BBB, and I've been hodling. This is big, dude. Here's the thing, is so far we've seen the beds, and we've seen the baths. But what they're waiting for in 25 and 26 is to really show you the beyond. And that's when the fucking stock is going to moon, dude. That's when we're going to start seeing real fucking profits. So hodl. You can't buy it on the exchange anymore. So like, just send me money. Send me money and I'll give you some of my shares. I have so many.
And liquidating hundreds of stores.
Some tech companies go public a bit too early. We still see tons of opportunity to change and grow the business quite a lot.
These 7 companies have risen and risen until they've become basically all of the stock market.
At the time this video was released, 34.1% of market capitalization of the S&P 500 was
Dude, I'm so happy that my lawyers have something to do. I'm so happy that I get to sue how money works and show them how the legal system works. Okay? When you steal my voice uncredited without permission. That's cash in my pocket. I'm taking the channel. No, that's cool. I appreciate the shout out. I also like that somewhere in here, I don't know where it is, but he responded. Yeah. Nice to hear the Glarketer making a cameo. And then How Money Works responded and said, quote, glizzy, glizzy, glizzy. I worked at NVIDIA. I am friends with Ludwig. No end quote. Big A. I didn't recall myself saying those words specifically. But clearly they're in the weeds. Clearly they aren't just a casual viewer here. Okay, they know the deep lore about my fingers. Anyway, it's cool. It's a good channel, so I'm happy. That's cool. Crossover episode. I'll get this disembodied head of a $, and we'll talk about bond yields or something.
Comprised of just 7 companies: Microsoft, NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, and Tesla. If you throw in Berkshire, Broadcom, and Walmart, then that is over half of the entire market in just 10 companies. According to data from Standard & Poor's, at the end of 2015, the top 10 companies only accounted for 16.2% of the market. So in less than a decade, the market concentration within the biggest companies has tripled. Even if there were more companies that the public could invest in, they would matter a whole lot less. This trend is bad for investors, bad for workers, bad for consumers, and strangely, it's actually even bad for the companies themselves.
Just straight up, been saying. I don't know how long I've been saying, but I've been saying. I don't know who's been watching here for a few years, but I've been saying, dude. I've been saying like as much as you can possibly been saying. This is one I've been super saying. Oh, God, my nose.
But I am getting ahead of myself. First, we need to know why this is happening. One of the big changes that most analysts are pointing to is the growing role of private equity. We have discussed the details of exactly what private equity is in a few videos, but if you are new here, all you need to know is that it's a firm that invests in companies or other assets that are not listed on public exchanges like the Nasdaq or New York Stock Exchange. According to the investment data firm Preqin, the amount of money that private equity firms are now managing in America alone is up 1,200% since the year 2000. So as this has grown, market share has been taken away from public exchanges. For a lot of companies, it's just not worth it to meet the compliance requirements of public listings because then...
private equity is get a bunch of rich people money, buy a company that's generating cash flow, load that company up with debt, pay that money back to yourself, siphon it off, leave the shell of a company to die. At best, private equity, some of them have like a formula, something simple they can do. Like for example, they'll have here, let me give you a real world example of like a private equity company. Here's the idea. Okay. There's a lot of local dentists in America that make money. They're doing pretty well. What if we buy dozens of these dentists? We buy 40 dentists at once, 40 private dentist businesses, and we roll them all up and we have them on the same HR system, the same payroll system, the same, scheduling system. We use one for all of them, so it's a cost saving. Well, we've managed to save money. But that's why when you go to a local dentist, instead of getting like a receptionist that is like happy to be there, it's like a fucking tablet that is linked up to a system that has 50 other dentists. This is like the best example of private equity being more efficient or whatever. That's like, and the worst example is them like just running it into the ground and siphoning it for cash. But the best example is that they think, okay, we can buy these businesses and make them somehow more efficient. And it's generally by applying some mass back end, to all of them at once.
Early investors and management...
Yeah, old folks' homes is a great example. Old folks' homes are cash cows. So they buy up a ton of them, and then generally... especially if you're in an area where you don't have competition, like if there's only one old folks home in a large radius, you buy that up and you just degrade the quality. You just reduce staff pay, reduce maintenance, and then siphon that off to yourself. That's their MO. All the old folks homes around me have gotten much worse in the past decade. Yeah, it's PE. But what's funny is some of this behavior, this is where we're going to get deeper into econ. I shouldn't even do this, but some of this private equity behavior, people go, oh, that's just, it's like the mindset that some of you have on that is like, wow, that's so fucking evil. And it is evil, don't get me wrong, but that it's evil, but like they're just doing it for the money. And what's funny is that most private equity firms are stupid and they're not making money off of it. It would be a loss. Like if they weren't propped up by the opaque financial system, artificially low interest rates, easy, like the free money system of government Wall Street makes it easy for them to do this for a long time, even if it's not actually working. Because I think on a deeper level, your brain should understand that like Toys R Us made money. So buying it and running it out of business is not profitable. Like they find ways to make it work, but that's not a real, it doesn't, what they're doing actually should fail. They should lose money. They should, there's only certain quirks that you could easily fix that would make them just lose. It's failing upward. It's like a bank, you know, in 2008. Like if they buy a bunch of stupid bets on the housing market, they should fail. But we don't let them fail. So, I just think we have a lot of like moral hazard in the system that allows really stupid ideas to do far better than they should, because of infinite access to capital.
Have to listen to thousands of stockholders instead of just one or two big private equity firms. Average investors also don't have that much money, and the average person owns most of their shares through managed retirement accounts anyway. Those retirement funds also invest in private equity firms, so going public doesn't really offer anything that can't be achieved by just selling to a private equity firm unless the company is absolutely massive. Even when private equity firms want to take profit on their investments, there is a growing trend of them just selling their assets to other, even bigger private equity firms. According to records from Apollo, one of the biggest private equity firms in the world, the number of companies financed by private equity increased by over 9,000 since the turn of the millennium. If these companies had to raise money the old-fashioned way through an IPO, then the number of public companies would be much more in line with the historical trend. So mystery solved, right? Wrong. There is one more story than just private equity ruining everything. Again, just having the same number of companies as there were.
I want to drill that because this is what I've been saying, and I want to specific, is that, listen, the whole point of private equity is that you buy a business and somehow you, because you're the smart elite private equity guy, can make the business worth more. You can do something to it with your superior management knowledge to make it better. But in reality, they can't often do that. And so many times, many of these private equity companies are sitting around unable to be sold because they've made them dog shit. So they can't actually flip the company. Like for a while they could because money was so free. But in this higher interest rate environment we're in right now, there's a crisis brewing in private equity and private credit and all of these areas where, there's no buyers. You've taken this company that was shitty. You've made it worse. You can't flip it. And this problem is brewing. I don't know when it explodes. I don't know. But I just know that this is happening. When this is unfolding. Like private equity is facing a reckoning. And so what they're doing, like all industries in America, is when you see a structural problem that's going to fail, try to get as big as possible so you can qualify for a bailout. Like if you're doing something risky and stupid and you know it's going to fail, the solution isn't to cut back on your risk. That just means you're going to be saddled with your bad choices in the past. You go bigger. You double the risk. You triple the risk. You try to get as many people involved. You try to get pensions invested in your risk. You need to make it systemic so that the taxpayer can be on the hook. That is the real flaw in private equity. Like, yeah. I mean, so much of it comes back to fucking boring shit like interest rates, dude. They keep artificially low.
By private equity increased by over 9,000 since the turn of the millennium. If these companies had to raise money the old-fashioned way through an IPO, then the number of public companies would be much more in line with the historical trend. So mystery solved, right? Wrong. There is one more story than just private equity ruining everything. Again, just having the same number of companies as there were 30 years ago wouldn't account for the fact that the economy is much larger overall. If the relationship between businesses and business activity held, there should be something like 25,000 public companies, but there are actually less than 4,000. Not only are companies getting more concentrated, but their ownership is getting more concentrated as well. The largest shareholders in almost every major company listed in America and most of the rest of the world today is some combination of BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Now, you have probably seen the endless thumbnails about these companies being evil empires plotting world domination. And honestly, that's probably not true. The reality is that they manage assets on behalf of millions of individual investors. They don't actually own that themselves. The index investment products they offer are also really convenient for most
I mean, I agree with this 100%. I think there's many. Listen, I don't think BlackRock's a good thing to exist, but people overstate how powerful it is so much. It's so overstated. Like, BlackRock is just everyone's 401k. Vanguard's everyone's 401k. It's just retirement funds. That's why they own a lot. It's people. It's the people of America that own a lot through these funds. But that in itself is problematic. But I've already had I think I've done 15 clips on this back in the day, so I don't want to go into it again. The dangers and the risks inherent in so much of the market being passive investing. I can't do the clip again, but go back and watch if you're interested. It's fascinating.
Investors who want diversified exposure to the market but are unable to buy and balance hundreds of shares individually because that would take an inordinate amount of time and money. But even though this reality is a little bit less exciting than an evil empire operating from the shadows, it doesn't mean that its growing popularity is any less damaging to your actual financial situation. And to see why, we are going to have to roleplay as Wendover Productions for a second. According to public 13G filings, the top shareholder of Delta, Southwest, United, and American Airlines is the Vanguard Group, which owns millions of shares in each company, primarily on behalf of their clients through its index products. Collectively, American, Delta, Southwest, and United control more than 70% of the market for air travel within America, according to the commercial aviation data firm AOG. Individually, the best way for these companies to grow their business would be to take market share from one of the other three by offering lower prices, better service, or more convenient routes.
Yeah.
This is the basis of good, healthy competition. And in the battle days, when shareholders would largely own one company they believed in, this is how it would work. But when their largest shareholders also own an equal stake in every other business in the market, they are a little bit less keen on crushing their opposition. If Delta pushed hard against United on all of their routes, then they might take market share from them. But for their shareholders, all they have done is cut into the profit margins to win a war against themselves. Instead, the growing pool of shareholders that owns...
Yeah, this is the Matt Levine. He talked about this like 10 years ago. I feel like How Money Works read the same money stuff as me. This is the Matt Levine, but yeah, it's true that like collective ownership of every competitor, which is what we do through our 401ks and passive investing, makes companies less competitive. Because if I own 50 shares of Delta and 50 shares of United, then if Delta does well at United's expense, I'm netting even. In fact, I might even be losing money. So, I kind of want them to all just fucking collude, if anything. The Maroon 5 singer? No, that's Adam Levine. Matt Levine's a financial writer.
Stakes in all of these companies equally are going to be financially better off if these companies grow their margins by extracting more from their customers through cost-cutting service, more fees, and confusing bookings. If you can believe that would ever happen. Now, even this by itself...
Doesn't it require a small active investor pool to balance the system? No, it requires a large active investor pool. Passive investing worked super well when it was small share of total trades. You're just piggybacking on everyone else doing the work. But now that passive investing is like over half of the market, then the smartest active investors just copy the passive. Okay? If the passive robot is buying Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Google, Nvidia every week with everyone's 401ks, then those stocks will outperform. And so the active investor just copies, because if not, they'll fall behind. And so you end up with a thing where the entire incentive for everyone, passive and active, is to pile into the same companies until it's disastrous. That's the risk. I mean, it starts to break down when it's that big a slice of the pie. It worked very well when it was small.
Isn't the whole story, because, spoiler alert, this little game isn't even good for the shareholders either. So it's time to learn how money works to find out why companies are going extinct. This video is sponsored.
There's one algorithm somewhere controlling all the strings. It's not an algorithm. It's you give me money, I buy. I buy the biggest things. Almost all the investing in America is done through passive vehicles like 401ks, which just take part of your paycheck and buy the top stocks. That's it. I mean, that's all they just buy them. If you're more big, I spend more money on you. That's it. And so, it knows what's the box to buy through an algo. I mean, calling it an algo it is an algorithm, but it's so, I think it's almost disingenuous language because it implies more complexity than there is. There's nothing complex about it. And that just goes on and on. And so now everyone's piling in.
Sponsored by Vessi, aka the sneakers that have quietly taken over my daily routine. You know those everyday moments that don't make the highlight reel? Coffee walks, daycare drop-offs,
I'm included in the video, so
Vessi
I'll watch
is
the
made
ad.
for all of it. Their weekend sneaker is the one I keep by the door. It's waterproof, lightweight, and honestly just easy. Slip them on and you're out the door in seconds. I've worn them in the rain, over wet sidewalks, and even through a few too close puddles. And, well, they're still dry and still comfy. Plus, they look good. Clean, minimal design that works whether I'm in joggers or jeans.
Yeah.
They're comfortable enough to wear all day and durable enough to handle whatever the day throws at you. I've stopped checking the weather because it just doesn't matter anymore. Make every day
as long as you got your Vesties.
Visit Vessi.com/money now for 15% off your first pair at checkout and start exploring with confidence.
Try Vessi.com/Atrioc. It doesn't exist,
but if they are all well regulated and they are not in vital industries, sometimes monopolies can be good for consumers, at least for a little while. Netflix once had a near monopoly on content streaming, and for a few years, it was really good. The price was reasonable, and in return, you could get access to an extensive library of on-demand content without the challenges and risks that came with sailing the high seas. But seeing the opportunity, companies like Disney, Apple, Paramount, NBC Universal, Amazon, and Warner Brothers all introduced their own offerings to the market and started locking their own content with their own subscriptions. Today, to get access to a comprehensive library of content, you would need about 5 or 6 different subscriptions, easily costing more than the cable this was all supposed to replace. Even the studios arguably did better under the Netflix arrangement, because they could license their content for additional revenue instead of losing billions of dollars every year trying to take market share. Now, this is actually nothing new. As new technologies emerge, lots of businesses try to get into the market and naturally only a few survive.
Sure.
Even the very first international corporations, the Dutch, British, and French East India companies, were effectively just state-sanctioned monopolies because that was the only way they would work. The difference now is that instead of raising money and starting a new business from scratch to take advantage of a new marketable technology, existing businesses just use their own cash to do it in-house. Netflix is the only major player in the streaming market that wasn't already a film studio or major technology company before getting into streaming.
Yep, true.
And outside of digital media, the lesson is the same.
To be clear, though, they're all winning. I mean, it's worth noting that like all these tech companies and studios that tried to do something that wasn't their core competency, they've done poorly. And Netflix is winning and profitable. So there's something to that. There's something to like not overstretching. Well, YouTube is ahead, yeah, but I wouldn't say that is the streaming war here. It's all a fight for attention, but then you could say Fortnite's ahead too.
Beautiful. A company like Amazon can offer same-day delivery and global cloud computing services because of its scale. Individual brick-and-mortar retailers could be content with operating out of a few select locations, but to compete directly with Amazon would require an investment of hundreds of billions of dollars into an immense network of warehouses and distribution centers. It's easier for most businesses to just give up and sell through Amazon instead. Legacy brands like Toys R Us or Bed Bath & Beyond just can't compete on price or convenience with their smaller scale and higher overhead. Social media, like the brands under Meta, only have value if everybody is using the same service, so users naturally gravitate towards the largest providers in any particular niche. If you want to shout about how hard it was back in your day under Minion memes, you go to Facebook. If you want to shout about how hard it is under the current day under Bernie memes, you go to Reddit. And if you want to shout about how hard it is to synergistically integrate the joint development interregional self-layoff project, you go to LinkedIn.
Okay.
Because that's where you will find fellow boomers, fellow comrades, and fellow corpo bots respectively. Now, I know you know that antitrust regulation is severely lacking here in America and most of the rest of the world.
True.
But even if we are actually good at playing Monopoly Whack-A-Mole, they will naturally keep popping up. Companies themselves are less resistant to being acquired because a lot of their investors are the same people on both sides. And a single entity that isn't regulated should make better returns than two entities that have to, at least pretend to, compete. Businesses getting bigger is the natural process. Big businesses have more money to invest into more growth and more opportunities. And if these companies can't create something from scratch, they will just buy it from someone who can. So far, you have seen how the shifting role of private equity in broad market asset managers has accelerated this.
I don't know if I agree with
but
that.
There is another group that's emerged that stops a lot of companies from even existing in the first place. Ironically, venture capital is a niche of private equity that focuses on funding hopeful startups rather than large existing businesses. In theory, lots of venture capital activity should encourage lots of new business development, but the industry has realized that's not the best way to maximize returns. The best way to make money is to instead scale a business really quickly in the hopes that the big tech companies will just acquire it. A paper published by the Journal of Information, Economics and Policy found that this process systematically stifled genuine innovation because businesses were funded to be sold, not to actually provide value to the market. The problem is if...
Yeah, I mean, this is like the guy that, Nikita Beer, dude. He founded the same app 3 times and just sold it to different tech companies. He sold to Discord and to Facebook, and I forget what the third one is, but it's the same app. And all 3 times, it failed after they bought it. That's actually so fire.
If these companies try to start a service that competes with one of these companies' existing services, venture capitalists don't want to touch it because it becomes far too risky. The existing company with huge cash reserves can compete with the fledgling startup until they have run out of cash and then go back to business as usual. This creates what the economists affectionately branded kill zones, where startups find it really hard to find investors once they threaten the existing big businesses. The most laughably ironic thing about all of this is that yes, businesses with more market power are bad for consumers, who they have more price control over, and even worse for employees who may only have 1 or 2 companies where they can get a job with their skills.
I mean, this is just, I'm not trying to be reductive here. It's complex thought, and there's different solutions, but, one that has worked in American history and one that I think was trying to be worked on by Lena Khan is just non-rubber stamp antitrust enforcement. If you just challenge some of these buyouts and it suddenly becomes obvious that as a big corporation, you can't just outsource your innovation to the small companies you're going to buy out. I think people have this idea that big companies will always win, when historically, big companies are the slow-moving, lumbering, anti-innovation, backwards giants that lose. They often are bad. But the problem is the rules have been changed to where anyone threatening them, they can just buy out or kill using other methods. And that distorts the whole system. I think there's a good argument to make that historically, the bigger a company gets, the worse it gets. And the more easy it is to beat in the market. If you were allowed to compete fairly. It's not like there's a massive advantage. It's just that it's sort of the out of competition stuff, the meta game around the game of product versus product. That's a great example, though. I think a great example, someone said video game companies, and that's a great example where that's a market that is somewhat functioning. That is a market where competition still exists and it's working. And you'll see that, size is not helping these companies. Sony can throw $100 million at Concord or the studio that made Suicide Squad, or the money and the scale and the size gives them no advantage. The product is worse. They're getting beaten by single-person devs. Indies are crushing them. What was that game? Repo. Repo is a one-person developer. That game is crushing like every AAA title this year. That's real competition. But in a lot of industries, we don't have that. We don't have like a level playing field where the small business can compete. They just get snapped up. Schedule 1 was one person. Repo's a small team. You're right. Schedule 1 is one person. But both those games are crushing big AAAs. Repo's a small team. You're right.
But the great business Extinction hasn't even been good for investors. As private equity, venture capital, and asset management firms have become larger players between investors and the companies they are investing in, they have soaked up more money in commissions, fees, consulting dues, and performance incentives. Income from the finance industry used to account for roughly 3.5% of GDP until the early 70s, but today it accounts for over 10% according to data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. That's 10% of the country's entire economy dedicated to paying bankers and financiers to move assets around between one another. The assets held by these institutions has also grown from less than 50% of GDP in 1980 to over 180% today. This means that a lot of these firms aren't too big to fail. They are just too big. Regulation should be here to deal with these misaligned incentives, but the last time the FTC ever broke up a company was right here in 1984 with AT&T. Since then, the only punishment for anti-competitive use of market power has been fines, and well, you know the thing about fines. Now, if all you have learned from this is that finance bros are sponging up an ever-increasing share of our economic activity, go and watch this video to find out what these jobs actually do, because it's a lot different than you might expect.
You just
and
said
don't forget to like and subscribe to keep on learning how money works.
Fun video. Thanks for including me. Well, I don't know if it's fun in that it's a little dystopian, but it's interesting. Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba. Hey, Atrioc, I just watched the Big A video about income inequality, not a question. If you said if you give money to a guy making $35K a year, he will spend it. Does that mean inflation goes up more when inequality goes down? No. Inflation would come from if you printed the money and gave it to him, sure. But we were talking in that example of him paying less in taxes. There's no new money entering the system, and it's just where the taxes are being distributed. What does EBITDA mean? Earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation. It's just a way of pretending you're profitable when you're not. EBITDA's nuts. No, the A is not amortization. It's Atrioc. Earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and Atrioc. Because I come in, I take my cut. Okay. I want to watch something funny. I want to watch something funny. Something goofy. Something stanky. I can watch X-Files. There's a new Nakey Jakey vid? Wait a minute. How Counter-Strike took over my life? Bro, this shit is an hour 23. No way. What? Why? An hour and a half about Counter-Strike? Non-professional Counter-Strike. Maybe I'll watch it on my couch with the dog, but that doesn't sound. That doesn't sound good. Let's watch X-Files. Fuck it, dude. We got to start a new series here. I heard X-Files is peak in season 3. I heard season 1 is good, season 2 is good, but season 3 is peak. And so, like, we have to get there. We got to fucking hustle. And episode 2 is rated, what, 8.2 on fucking IMDb? I gotta watch that shit. All right, I'm going to watch episode 2. It's got Seth Green? A young-ass Seth Green? No fucking way. He looks like a little baby. You don't know Seth Green? He's the guy from Family Guy, and you don't know this guy? Robot Chicken, Chris from Family Guy, Entourage. Okay, fuck it. He's Austin Powers, yeah. He's great in Austin Powers. That's such a funny role. That's such a funny role. Scotty. Is he in Scooby-Doo too? Yeah, I guess so. Tell Sloan I said what up. Damn, we got a real entourage head in here, huh? There's an X-Files movie? Damn, we got to watch that shit. You grew up with it? It's bad? Yikes. Dude, how many fucking files are there for them to X? It's crazy. You'd think, dude, I'm sorry. There's a problem with my account and I can't purchase it? What does this fucking mean? Just let me purchase it, dude. Am I banned? Did they catch me streaming it? Now I'm... What do you mean I can't purchase the episode? YouTube X-Files episode 2. Can I just buy it on YouTube? This is a 3-minute clip. Dude, what the fuck is going on? I'm trying to give you money to watch something from fucking 1993. Why is this so hard? Spent all his money on Secret Millionaires Club. The movie had a huge controversy? What? What was the controversy? How could there be an X-Files controversy? Why do I have to refer to Amazon customer service? I'm going to crash out. I am going to crash out if I can't watch. It predicted 9/11? You're smoking crack. X-Files predicted 9/11. What? This is real? Wait, this is... Well, maybe I shouldn't spoil this, but... It literally predicts a World Trade Center attack? From an airliner? 6 months before it happened? Wait, how fucking crazy is that? Okay, we're not going to watch it. Or we're not going to watch... I mean, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. Dude, I'm going to crash out. I'm going to crash out. Why can I not purchase? Why can I not purchase this? I'm losing it. Just let me fucking buy it. Please, God. You got Wizwaz? You're joking, right? That's not a real thing. Wizwaz? You got Gloople? You got Glupshido? Dude, I cannot wait for the... Now that I've seen Andor and I've seen Prestige Star Wars, I cannot wait for a Prestige gritty drama called Shido. It's just like fucking... It's like Idris Elba in the worst fucking alien makeup and outfit of all time, holding a blaster, and it just says Shido. Shido, the story of Glup. Dude, that would be so fucking fire. Yeah, I'm getting the... Okay, I got it. I figured it out. I got it, folks.
It's the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. It's not a celebration without you.
Oh, God.
With
I'm
all
allergic.
the sights and laughter.
I'm allergic to Disney's bullshit, dude. Fuck. Fuck me, dude. Why are you making fun of my sneeze? Mario sneeze? All right, we're in. Wait. Hackermans. We have literally done it. We have literally hacked our way in to the X-Files secret, top secret fucking lair. And now we're going to find out what actually happened in 1993. What does the government not want us to know? This episode is called, I feel like if you are a Zoomer, you won't understand the reference and it'll sound more pornographic than it is. This episode is called Deep Throat. But it's not, it's not pornographic. It's a reference to the Watergate saga. Okay, here it is. Here we go. Without further ado, full screen, sound on.